Hi everyone, Dr. Remy from Posture Size and Pain Free and Fit. Today we're going to be going over the typical mistakes most of you make with abdominal curl-ups and crunches. So abdominal crunches and curl-ups are among the most common exercises that people do for their abdominal development. Unfortunately, a lot of people are doing these with many mistakes that are perpetuating their pains and injuries and taking away from the stimulus to tone and strengthen the abdominal muscles in a correct functional way. Now, what I mean by this is if you take the typical person doing abdominal crunches, you'll notice that they emphasize their head and upper body moving forward towards the pelvis, okay? And the abdominals attach our rib cage to our pelvis. So this is one way of contracting the abdominals. Unfortunately, that's what most of us are doing every day when we're sitting in slumped postures. Our ribs are coming forward on our pelvis. That's what we're doing almost all night long if we're sleeping on our side in a fetal position. We're curling forward. That's what we're doing when we're driving or eating or working on our laptops or playing our video games, watching television. We many times slump. So the front of the rib cage is oftentimes coming down on top of the pelvis, and by doing crunches, emphasizing that same exact motion, we're actually perpetuating and tightening and strengthening our dysfunction of forward slumped posture. That's not serving our lower back any good. That's not serving our breathing mechanism, or neck posture, or shoulder posture, or our health from our upper body from a musculoskeletal standpoint any good. So what we need to think about is when we're doing abdominal crunches, we want to develop the weak link in our abdominal function. And for most people, that weak link is tilting the pelvis up towards the ribs. And if you notice what I'm doing there, that's called a posterior pelvic tilt. I'm tilting my tailbone under and moving my pubic bone up towards my ribs. I'm using my abs to do this. The abs again connect from the rib cage to the pelvis at the pubic bone. So it's easy to do this pelvic tilt with my knees and hips bent, but when my knees and hips are straight, my legs now act as a longer lever arm on my pelvis, and this is a little bit more of a workout for my abs. So when we do a crunch, we want to engage both the bottom moving up and the top moving down. So the way I do my crunch is I keep my legs straight. I'd engage the muscles of my lower back to stabilize my lower back. And what I mean by back stability is if we pull our lower tummy, that's under our belly button, inwards towards our spine, that's going to contract our deepest of abdominal muscles known as the transverse abdominis. They connect to the multifidi muscle in the back, which are the small muscles that come off the midline bones of your back. So as you pull your lower tummy in, it's going to cause a bulging out of the muscles on the sides of those midline bones. And then I'm going to make sure I have good alignment, so I'm not strengthening more alignment dysfunction while I'm doing my crunches. You know, if my typical posture is leaning my ribs to the right, or if I hip hike, bring one hip up, or if I have a tendency to twist to one side when I drive or sleep, and typically my posture is such that my rib cage turns to one side or my pelvis turns to one side, if I'm not aware of setting those symmetrical and square when I'm doing my crunches, I'm only going to be strengthening my abdominals to hold that postural dysfunction, thus stressing lower back tissues, my hips, and creating an asymmetrical development in my abs. You don't want to strengthen dysfunction, you want to strengthen proper function. So once we get that alignment down, the lower tummy pulled in, bulging out the back, then I'm going to emphasize tailbone under first as I crunch up. Now if you notice, this is called a curl up, which is a very tiny crunch. And it's all abdominals. You don't see my head moving up. When I'm doing a crunch, the abs don't attach to your neck or head. So all this motion that you see people do, that's only perpetuating forward head posture. You don't want that either. You want to look past your cheekbones towards your collarbone. That'll lock your head in the right position. And then start the motion with tail under and allow the bottom of your ribs to lead the upper body towards the pelvis. So that's what I have. I have pelvis and ribs coming together on the exhale, head not moving, only following what the bottom ribs are doing. If your neck muscles begin to get tired, because this is part of neck stability, you can take your hands and place them behind your head, but then make sure that your hands are not pulling up, but rather acting as pillows where your head relaxes back into. And I have the same motion. Now when doing crunches, you can hold the top position for isometric contractions of 5 to 60 seconds, or you can do repetitions for just a few seconds each. Either way, you want to make sure that you have good alignment of your hips, your ribs, your proper muscles engaged, and you want to start the crunch or the curl up with pelvic motion so you're getting that corrective effect of the abs, helping to delete the forward slumping function of the abdominals due to poor posture during the day.